Hey, what's up, you ghouls and gas? I am so excited today to introduce you to the Spirit Board. It's something we put a ton of work into, and this is an all new alert pack inspired by the ever so popular Ouija boards. It will spell out the name of your followers, your donators, subs, and so much more. And it works with Streamlabs and StreamElements, and it's so easy to install. Just one click and you're basically done. And then also, you guys know that because it's from us, we had to build in a ton of different options. So we've included 4 different color themes that you can change out in just a few clicks, and you can even use your own custom colors. Then on top of that, you can configure this to whatever works for your stream. So for instance, you can change the opacity of the board, control different timings, fonts, and so much more. So make sure to watch this full video because I'm going to walk you through everything that you need to know about the all new Spirit Board. And just a quick fun fact, all ghosts don't speak English, so we added support for them as well. Let's get right into it. All right, so I am so excited to finally be able to talk about this alert pack. What you need to do to get started, obviously head over to the website, grab the alert. The link is in the description below. And then from there, you'll just download it and unzip it. And then you'll be presented with this folder here and basically 2 steps to really get started. So to get started, the first step is to check out the setup guide or the video that you're watching right now. So you're good on that. But if you do need some help, there's some support links in here where you can reach out to us via email, join our Discord, of course, and then send us a tweet or an X or whatever they're called now. I don't know. But anyways, the big step here is really going to the quick imports. And what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to show you how to set it up in Streamlabs very quickly and show you where all the options are in Streamlabs. And then I'm going to actually transition into StreamElements, but I want to make sure it's clear that all the options are exactly the same. They work exactly the same. So no matter what platform you're on, you're going to be able to follow along. So to get started with Streamlabs, I'm going to go ahead and open this up and then just double click this link. As long as you're logged into Streamlabs, what you can do is just go ahead and create a new theme. You could actually import this to one of your current themes, but I highly recommend creating a new theme just so you're not overriding any of your previous work. And in this new theme, you can just give it a name. And once that's done, just click Use to import into your newly created theme. And then from there, all that you need to do is grab the URL that you're going to add into OBS as a browser source by hitting the copy button. So in OBS, what you just need to do, add a browser source, paste in this URL, and then I would definitely bump up the width and height because it might cut off some of the names and some of the parts of the alert. So somewhere around 1,000, something like that will do just fine. But before I get into StreamElements, I do want to point out inside of Streamlabs, if you go to the individual alerts, so let's just click follow, for example, you can scroll down and you'll actually see the custom fields. This is where all the options are, and we're going to be talking about all of them inside of StreamElements. So again, you can follow along just as easily. Let's move on to setting this up in StreamElements. Just go back to the quick imports folder and then open up the StreamElements folder. In it, you'll find the platforms that you can choose for StreamElements. I'm going to just install this for Twitch. So once you do that, it's going to bring in the overlay pack right here. I'm going to click edit. Just remember that just like in StreamElements, with Streamlabs, you're going to have to go back into the individual alerts to make any custom changes. And before I get too far, let's go ahead and add this into OBS. So I'm going to click this copy URL here. And then inside of OBS, I'm going to add in a browser source. And then just like in Streamlabs, I'm going to paste this in. I'm going to update the size. And a quick note as well, if you make any changes to the size, you might need to update this in OBS. I'm going to send through a custom alert here. And then go ahead and check OBS to make sure it's showing. And we can see that it's basically the same thing that we have in StreamElements. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to take over in StreamElements and walk you through all the different customizations. Here we have all the custom options, but the one thing I want to mention really quick is if we make any changes to the timings, you're going to need to up the alert duration to kind of compensate. And that will make more sense as I go through the timings. But if you want to use things at their default, you don't really have to worry about changing that in StreamElements or Streamlabs. And then of course we have the main options here, and this will allow you to change the theme. So by default, it will be on this Bewitched blue, but if we want to, we can change it to Blood Red here and just send through another event, and we'll see the kind of colors change. Now, if you don't like any of our pre-made themes, don't worry, you can set this to custom, and then you can just pick whatever theme that you like by entering in your own colors. But before we get on to all the kind of customizations to that, I want to mention the spirit board option here to show it or hide it. Now, if you set this to no, you're just going to get this text alert, and it will just give you that really cool intro and then the floating text. This will allow you to kind of keep the theme throughout all of your alerts and not really break into like different alerts if you don't want to show the entire board. We thought this was important, but of course, if you want to show the board for your bigger alerts, then you can do so. Now, what I'm going to do is actually set this back to yes, because with the board shown, then we have this planchette move time. And basically what this means is it's going to take 5 seconds for the total movement of the planchette. So if I set this down to like a 1, for example, and send through an event, you're going to see that it's going to move very quickly. So the higher that you set this, the higher that you're going to want the alert duration, or on the other side, of course, the lower. So I'm going to get this right back to 5. I kind of like setting it a little bit higher personally because it gives it a more authentic movement when it's a bit slower, but to each their own for what you want to show off on your stream. And then to finish out the main options, we have the floaty words. This is that kind of up and down movement effect. You can go through and choose that and turn it off if you're really not into it. And then finally, we have the alert scale. So by default, it's set to 100. I'm going to set it up to 200 and show you what it does. And you'll be able to see that with this set up all the way, you're going to basically get a 2x size alert. And then from there, you can just get a much higher quality alert than just scaling it up in OBS. So you could use this for like a just chatting scene or something where you really want to, show the board off and kind of do fun stuff with it. So I'm going to set this back to 100 and then move on to the board options. Inside here, we have a decent amount of options. Again, just to make sure you guys know, the custom theme has to be selected for you to use the board color and the letter color. Probably I'm going to go back through the labels and just update that to make that a little bit more clear. But if for some reason you want to set this to like a red board with the letter color being like maybe this like teal here, we can go through and send that through and see what it looks like.
No, God!
It looks awful. I am sorry for assaulting your eyes. I'm actually going to go ahead and set this back to the wicked purple just to show that off a little bit. The other cool thing is we have this board opacity, which is set to 100% opacity. If you drop this down to like 70-ish, maybe 80, you'll get the see-through board effect. This is really nice if you don't want to completely block your game. You should be able to kind of see the dots here in the background. I wouldn't go down too far because it does affect the legibility of the letters, but it's really up to you if you want to make sure your game isn't interrupted. Some of the colors actually look kind of cool if you drop it all the way down to 0. So I could definitely see some people doing that and having a really nice effect where it just looks a bit more ethereal or something like that. But I'm going to drop this back up to 100. Then we have the board scale, which we can edit individually. By default, it's set to 60 just to be a little bit smaller so the board isn't super massive. And then we have the vertical offset. So right now, if I send through an alert, you'll see the board kind of sitting in the spot that it's at, where the top of it is right here. If we adjust the offset above 115, it will go up and down a bit more. So I'll just go ahead and drop this up to 300 just to kind of demo that, to show you where it can kind of move up to. This just gives you a little bit more precise control. So you can block the letters, you can put it completely down, and then you could even adjust the letters in another option to kind of let you swap the position. So yeah, you can play around with that if you like. And then of course we have the letter opacity as well. And that is just the same thing as the board opacity, where you can drop the opacity of the letters. I personally don't really recommend doing that just because of legibility again. So with that said, let's move on to the planchette options. This will allow you to change the base color and the accent color. So if you wanted to make a red version with a kind of white text here, and let me actually just update this again because I think I missed my click. And then I'll send through one more event. You'll see that you can customize the color of this as well. And then next we have the alert info. We have the font family, which is just going to be a Google font selector. And then we have the font weight as well, which is just thickness of the font. But the important part here is really the heading template and subheading template. So in here, we basically put name in curly braces because that allows us to kind of bring in the name. So if I add some like X's or something around that, you'll see now that the template is updated with what it's going to be spelling out. So this is what gets spelled out on the board. So if you want to actually just remove that and put like new follow, and then put the name below, you could definitely do that. You would have to put the name though in the curly braces, and you could send that through. It's really up to you with what you want to kind of show off, of course. However, I kind of just like it spelling out the name. Something about showing off your viewer names from beyond just seems kind of cool to me. So then finally, we have the text styles, and these are pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to dive too deep into them. But the big one here is the alert text vertical offset, which by default is set to 0. So once again, I'm going to send through an alert and just kind of point out what's going on here. You see the alert text is up here and it's kind of grouped up. This will move the entire group of the text together. I'm going to just set it up here a bit more, and then you'll see it shift 100 pixels up. But where you're already pretty close to the edge, so yeah, it's going to get cut off a little bit. So of course you can move it down by going into the negatives, or you can just leave it where it is at 0. And then from there, we have all the heading text colors, the subheading text color, the little skulls that appear. If you want to update those, you can just select a new color and send through an alert. And then we have the message color as well. So for any type of alert that shows a message, it will kind of appear from behind the board. And then finally, the last option is the text shadow color, and then the ability to enable and disable the text shadow. And with that, that is everything that you need to know about the Spirit Board Alert Pack. This is one we're super proud of, and we hope you enjoy. And you should probably subscribe to the channel, because we might have something that's going to be a year-round version of this coming out very, very soon. Make sure also to leave any comments below if you have any questions or any feature suggestions. I get a ton of them actually from the YouTube comments and from our tweets as well, so you can hit us up there. And if you have any problems, hop in the Discord, send us an email. We'll be glad to get everything fixed up for you. I've been Derek with Nerd or Die. Thanks for checking out this video, and I'll see you next time. Later.